We heard the news that O.J. Simpson, age 76, died of cancer today. I wasn't really sure how to process that because when I think of O.J. Simpson, I think of ancient history and I think of some of the parallels we're seeing today. Hang with me here. I'll pull this fucker all together. Anyway, in the late 70s, I was a young man. I had kind of a dream job. I was a sports stringer, which means I went to sporting events, to clubhouses, to press conferences, did interviews with athletes, and then sold those interviews to other media outlets. In all honesty, all bragging aside, I had the good fortune of meeting and interviewing some of the biggest sports icons of the era. It was a wonderful job. Now, in the late 70s, O.J. Simpson, for all of us, he was the greatest NFL running back in the history of the game. He was also well thought of. Seemed to be very friendly. He was on TV, he was in movies, he was in commercials. And I found out he was coming to town. He was promoting an orange juice brand. Go figure. So anyway, he comes to town, he has the press conference. It's boring. I don't give two fucks about the orange juice, but I want to see O.J. Simpson. So I watched the press conference, and then afterwards, being a bold kind of guy, I walk up to him and say, "Mr. Simpson, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?" He says, "Sure, no problem." Sat down with me. This guy was absolutely charismatic, engaging, cordial, nicest guy in the world. Swear to God. When I left there, I thought, wow, he's a great guy. I like O.J. Simpson. Then I really didn't think about it much after that. 15, 16 years later, we go through this whole Nicole Simpson and White Bronco bullshit, and I'm saying to myself, I met this guy. He's a good guy. How could he have done it? He probably didn't do it. Well, after 30 years of looking at this and not one other suspect coming to light, clearly O.J. did it. And I was trying to understand how he did it. And then I realized based from my own experience. O.J. Simpson had been pampered and had all kinds of adulation all of his life because he was supremely talented. We hear about the stories where there was some physical abuse with Nicole Brown Simpson, and I realized what was going on. We're dealing with a guy who's obviously a narcissist. I had my own experience with a narcissist, so I know how this goes. So how could a guy that seems wonderful kill his wife? Well, that's not as hard as you might imagine because narcissists are really two kinds of people, and it depends at what distance you see them. From a distance, narcissists look absolutely wonderful. Everybody loves them. But when you get closer to them, if you're in the family or if you're a close friend, you see the cracks, you see the darkness at the core, and it's an entirely different person. And because these people are so insecure, anytime they feel embarrassed, they could go unhinged. And if they have a couple of drinks with it, it can get really ugly. Trust me, I've seen it with my own father, and clearly that's what happened with O.J. Simpson. His wife was divorcing him. She may or may not have been dating another guy. He has a couple of drinks, he gets pissed off, and then he loses his shit. And clearly he was capable of doing it. So we're talking about narcissism here, and I tried to suggest how it compares to today. Well, we're dealing with another narcissist in Donald Trump. And with Donald Trump, he's not as dangerous as O.J. Simpson in terms of physical damage himself, but he can incite others to do it. And you have to understand when they're pushed to a certain level, they'll do absolutely anything. And Donald Trump is just about at this point. So we have to be careful with that. We have to be guarded because nobody knows what Donald Trump is willing to do. The only difference between Donald Trump and O.J. Simpson is that Donald Trump can hurt an entire fucking country. Now, the last part of this I wanted to bring up, and I know this video is long, but please hang with me. The parallel. O.J. Simpson went through the trial, and he was found not guilty. Nobody could understand why. Clearly, he was guilty. But it's the same reason that we're seeing the things we see today. Our judicial system is fucked. If you're rich and you're famous and you're powerful, you get special treatment. Now, that's one of the things we have to guard against with Donald Trump. I don't think it's going to be as big a problem now because it's all in the open. There's no hiding the evidence. We know everything. Donald Trump is not going to have the good fortune that O.J. Simpson has because we know it all. But we need to learn some lessons, and we need to understand how long this problem with the judicial system has been going on. It's been decades and decades. And this is something we need to fix. Once we get done with Donald Trump and the Republicans, we need to focus on that and fix that motherfucker.